I feel like Giovanni. But what is going on, YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today I have got a treat for you. And no, it is not vanilla coffee. That's mine. Also, I think I might have spooked her a little bit. No, it is Dragon Shear Miraidon shenanigans. Let's go. So I am looking to cause as much chaos as possible with this scope lens, Miraidon and Dragon Shear Iron Jugulis combination. Now, I talked about this in the Miraidon discussion video, but what we're going to do here is we're going to use Dragon Shear on Miraidon with the scope lens to ensure that we have guaranteed critical hits, which means we are going to ignore the fact that both Overheat and Wrinkle Meteor are going to lower our special attack 2 stages because critical hits just naturally ignore that, and it's also going to ignore all the defensive buffs the opponent has at their disposal, which means in theory we should be doing some major damage with this thing. Now we also have Iron Leaves here. Iron Leaves has had a little bit of a questionable showing since it's come out, but thanks to Miraidon being a nice strong candidate to set electric terrain, I want to give Iron Leaves a chance. If it works, great. And if it doesn't work, well, that's on me for putting it on the team. We have Chi-Yu here to benefit everyone on the team with the exception of Urshifu with its Beads of Ruin. Well, I guess Iron Leaves isn't benefiting from it. Iron Leaves, you're really not selling yourselves here. But anyways, Chi-Yu here is going to benefit Miraidon, Iron Jugulis, and even Electabuzz with its Beads of Ruin by lowering everything's special defense except its own. So Chi-Yu will also be doing major amounts of damage with Heat Wave, Dark Pulse, and Overheat. Now we have Terra Ghost on both the Chi-Yu and the Iron Jugulis in case I am weary of taking a Fake Out, so we do have that at our disposal. We have Electabuzz here with a little bit of a supportive set of Eerie Impulse to cut special attacks 2 stage. We have Electro Web to lower the speed by 1 stage for both opponents if it connects, and we have Follow Me here to redirect attacks into Electabuzz. And if we want to, we can go Terra Grass here to resist a Urshifu Rapid Strikes Surging Strikes. So that could potentially be really funny with Electabuzz, since by resisting it, we'll take all 3 hits, which means we have 3 chances of activating Static, which means that Urshifu might get paralyzed. Now, do I expect it to work? Do I expect to bring it to any games? Not likely, but if I get to bring it, awesome. And finally, we have Choice Banded Urshifu Rapid Strike here to do as much damage as possible. If we bring Urshifu for this one, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to either lead Miraidon and Jugulis together so that we can actually activate the electric terrain so we can get our Quark Drive, we get our Tailwind, and then we try to bring in Urshifu so that we can naturally benefit from that Tailwind. Now, we don't have a Tornadus on this team, so it could be a little bit trouble to try to get that speed, but we're experimenting on the casual ladder, so it is to be expected for some things. Anyways, let's jump on in to some battles. Alright, my opponent here has Rillaboom, Incineroar, Urshifu, Clefairy, Primarina, and Calyrex Shadow Rider. So, no Tailwind. That's nice. Now, Iron Jugulis is definitely going to have to worry about Fake Out, but this is not terrible by any means. And if I remember right, I don't think Dragon Shear can actually be redirected away. Tailwind Heat Wave might be good here. Yeah, Tailwind Heat Wave might be good, especially if we don't get the Iron Jugulis Fake Out. We can bring Miraidon. I don't think I'm going to need my Terra Steel, so popping the Terra Ghost on Miraidon might be okay. Do I bring Urshifu or do I bring Iron Leaves? You know what? We're going to give Iron Leaves a chance here. We're going to try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let this be a public service announcement to probably avoid Iron Leaves in the future. But let's see how this goes. So we are going... Nice. I love that Iron Bundle trainer card right there. Let's see how this goes. So it's Calyrex and Clefairy. All right. So I can get my Tailwind off, no problem. A Snarl will not be bad either. And plus, I am a dark type, so I'm double dark actually, so I'm naturally immune to psychic type attacks off of the Calyrex. So we can go Heat Wave and Snarl, and then that way too, we should be able to do a good chunk of damage. And the Terra coming in for the Calyrex is a little bit spooky, but I have a Focus Sash on my Iron Jugulis. There's still going to be Terra Ghost, so that means Astral Barrage is going to hurt really bad, but we got the Snarl coming and we got the Heat Wave. So the question is can Chi-Yu live this? Iron Jugulis is going to live it, no problem. Chi-Yu does take that, no problem. So there's a Snarl. Goodbye special attack stat. And here comes the Heat Wave. So that Follow Me is going to be rather unfortunate for my opponent because it's not going to be doing them any favors. I picked up a burn on the Clefairy. Unfortunately, I needed that on the Calyrex. But, I mean, there's worse things in life. Now, that did do a little bit over half to both of my Pokemon. I'm going to protect the Iron Jugulis here. I'm going to try to go for the Heat Wave with Chi-Yu. Oh yeah, Chi-Yu is definitely a goner here. But getting in Miraidon here to turn on my speed and getting a Snarl is going to be very handy for the Jugulis. Even getting an access to the Tailwind is going to be nice. So here comes the Astral Barrage. Chi-Yu, I salute you. You did what you needed to do. You burned the Clefairy. You brought the Calyrex down to a tiny little... Oh! Oh, Chi-Yu, thank you! Goodbye, Calyrex. Now, Chi-Yu's gonna go down still to the Life Orb, but I'll take that over an Astral Barrage knockout any day of the week. And this lets me get Miraidon in for free. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's Dragon Cheer time. Yeah, we didn't see a Life Orb off the Calyrex, so I don't think that would have been choice specs. Okay, it's Urshifu coming in. Great. So that's probably where the Focus Sash might be. Or the Calyrex might have had it. So Incineroar's coming in. All right. Now, what I can do here is I could go Terra Ghost and Tailwind. And then that way I become immune to Fake Out, and Miraidon can just do a lot of damage. Now, what I could do too is I could switch in the Iron Leaves and leave Miraidon in the back. Because if Miraidon takes a... Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to switch in because if Miraidon takes a close combat, that's going to be a lot of damage, and I really don't want to take that. I'd rather resist this. So, Iron Leaves, you are getting your chance. I don't know how good you're going to be, but we're going to get this Tailwind off. Actually, because of the Quark Drive and the Electric Train for the Iron Leaves, I'm going to get a speed boost. I might not need this Tailwind. But the Urshifu came in before my Miraidon, which makes me think it's Scarfed Urshifu. So, they went for the Fake Out into the Iron Leaves, so I didn't need my Terra Ghost, but that was just for some insurance. I do genuinely think it's going to be a Scarfed Urshifu right here. So, I'm going to lose my Terra. Not that that really mattered. That was just to try to get around the... the Fake Out. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to go for the Dragon Cheer now, but Miraidon can go back in. I want to go for a Electro Drift into that Urshifu, and I really want to go for a Sacred Sword into the Incineroar. But what I could do is I could always go for a Draco Meteor into the Incineroar too. I want to get that. I want to double into that Urshifu and try to get rid of it. Just on the safe side in case. No, I'm going to trust my gut. I think that's Choice Scarf. I'm going to go for the Electro Drift, and I'm going to go for the Sacred Sword into the Incineroar. We do have a speed boost on Iron Leaves, which is nice. We're going to bring Incinerate down to berry range. If I'm right, we should be able to outspeed the Urshifu. We haven't seen it protect, and this should be a KO. So, big damage right there into the Urshifu. It's super effective, Electro Train boosted, and, I mean, Electro Drift is Electro Drift. That just leaves the Incineroar. They're going to go for a knockoff into Iron Leaves, which is going to pick up the Iron Leaves, but Electro Drift at this range is going to take out the Incineroar. So, this should be okay. This should be more than enough damage to get rid of the cat. So, let's go Miraidon Electro Drift. It's a shame the Dragon Shear didn't get to go off this turn, but that Scope Lens, it is pulling its weight there with the critical hit. So, Incineroar does go down. So, we do pull out a win right there, which is going to be very nice to see. Alright, Mike here has Calyrex, Shadow Rider, Urshifu, Iron Hands, Fluttermane, Incineroar, and Indeedee. So, the Indeedee could be a little bit troublesome for a Miraidon lead, because if they lead Indeedee, then they get the Psychic Terrain to override my Electric Terrain. That said, Urshifu might not be bad here. Chi-Yu might not be bad either. Chi-Yu with a Dark Pulse can definitely threaten that Calyrex. Now, the Urshifu can also threaten Chi-Yu back in return. So maybe what we'll do is we'll go Chi-Yu and Electabuzz. And then that way we have the Electro Web support for Electabuzz. And if it's Urshifu versus Urshifu and Calyrex versus Electabuzz Chi-Yu, I can at least redirect Urshifu's attack into Electabuzz instead. So I'm going to bring Miraidon in the back, and we're going to bring the Iron Jugulis, and we're going to try to make Dragon Shear work. It's been rough. It has been very rough, but we'll see how this goes. Maybe we get it, and if we do, great. If at anything, at least the Scope Lens does help the critical hits a little bit, but yeah, Dragon Tear is definitely tricky to pull off, and I kind of wish I had Dazzling Gleam on Miraidon, but I don't, so it is what it is. The Overheat, in theory, is going to work quite nicely. Incineroar and Indeedee is interesting because they cannot go for Fake Out into either of these two Pokemon, and that's going to be really nice for me at the end of the day. They get a Psychic Seed boost, which is fine. Dark Pulse is going to do a lot of damage to the Indeedee, and my Electabuzz is not a physical attacker, so we should be alright here. And if they want to just be cute and go for a Parting Shot, great. I'm going to go for a Dark Pulse into their Indeedee and follow me. So, we'll try that. So yeah, anyways, Electabuzz. Hopefully this works, and hopefully it wasn't terrible. We're just going to trade Follow Me's. That's fine. I went for the Indeedee to begin with this Dark Pulse, and since we saw the Psychic Seed, woo, that's a bulky Indeedee. Since we saw the Psychic Seed, that's kind of good to know, that it's not sashed, which means the Calyrex might have it. And if the Calyrex does have it, it's not the end of the world, but it could be better. So, Urshifu is going to come in here. Great. Is this single? No, it's rapid. I don't know why I just assumed it might have been single, but anyways, we're going to go for the Heat Wave here just to bypass the spread damage, and or rather to bypass the Follow Me. And if we get this, the burn into the Urshifu, great. Electabuzz is going to go for this Follow Me, so that Helping Hand is going to be not great for them at the end of the day. So, who did I miss? It's just the Urshifu. That's scary, but we missed the Urshifu. If they get staticked from Electabuzz, that could be nice at the end of the day. So here comes the Surging Strikes. I'm going to take one. Do I get the static? No. We take two. Do we get the static? We do. Nice. Thank you, Electabuzz. So, that's nice that we were able to take all three of those. So, we can still always Follow Me one more turn. and we can go for the Dark Pulse into the Calyrex slot, which I kind of want to do, if I'm being completely honest. So they're paralyzed. I'm going to try an Electro Web instead and get a speed drop. And I'm going to Dark Pulse into the Calyrex here. So I'm naturally immune to the Expanding Force, so that's alright. Chi-Yu's going to just survive. Urshifu's got a pretty good chance of getting paralyzed. So while I don't like that special attack boost into the Calyrex, I do like that amount of Dark... Oh, that was not sashed. Maybe it's the Urshifu that's sashed. Incinerate and Urshifu versus Chi-Yu, Miraidon, and Jugulis. And Chi-Yu here gets to hold on for another turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the Miraidon. And I'm going to go for the... I think I kind of want to go for the hard switch off of Chi-Yu. What I should have did was I should have brought Jugulis, and then that way I could have just brought in the Miraidon here instead. But I'm going to go for an Electro Drift and attempt it into the Urshifu, and I'm going to go for a Dark Pulse into it, and then this way too. If they, please tear away from the fighting type. Nice, okay. Terra Water, great. I want to definitely connect that, I definitely want to connect this Dark Pulse, because you just, oh, no Fake Out. What? And it's not sashed, okay. There's no way that was Choice Banded, though, from the amount of damage that Electabuzz took. I'm very happy with how that played out, actually. And Chi-Yu just took half of Incinerator's HP. Of course, Chi-Yu got the critical hit there. But, yeah, alright. So we're gonna... This is a weird Incineroar. This might just be an offensive Incineroar, but, I mean, I am practicing in the casual ladder. But, anyways, yeah. No Focus Sash on the Calyrex. No Focus Sash on the Urshifu. Who do they have in the rest of their team? Oh, you know what? Probably the Fluttermane. Yeah, the Fluttermane is probably the Focus Sash, if it is. But yeah, we're just going to finish this off with the Draco Meteor. We didn't even need to bring Jugulis. Nice. Alright, so... I'm kind of surprised that they went with the Expanding Force to get rid of my Electabuzz, because Chi-Yu was straight up immune to it. But I think the reason why they did that was maybe they were expecting my Chi-Yu to Terra into something that would either be resistant or straight up immune to the Astral Barrage, perchance. Like, maybe they thought I was going to go for some more damage. I mean, the Dark typing naturally resists the Astral Barrage, but maybe they thought that I was expecting maybe a Terra Ghost on the Calyrex and trying to Terra into something like maybe the normal typing, so I'd be immune to that. So maybe they were just trying to get around a Terra that way. That's the main thing that I can think of for that. But anyways, that's enough rambling out of me. Good game to my opponent. Alright, Sam here has a Tornadus, Urshifu, Sinistcha, Farigiraf, Rillaboom, and Zacian. Or Zacian, however you say it. They do have the Trick Room option with the Farigiraf and the Sinistcha, but outside of that, they do like the idea of having speed at their disposal thanks to that Urshifu, Torn, Rilla, and Zacian. So, am I going to give it a chance? Am I going to give the Iron Leaves a chance here? Depending on what that Urshifu is, that might be the single strike, which would be very scary for Iron Leaves, but if it's not, that's nice. I think I'm going to go Jugulis Leaves. We're going to bring the Miraidon in the back. And actually, I kind of want to bring the Electabuzz. Electabuzz looks nice. Chi-Yu looks nice. Maybe I'll bring the Leaves in the back. Maybe I'll bring Electabuzz and Jugulis here. Iron Leaves. Yeah, I'm going to bring the Electabuzz here because I can always go for Follow Me and redirect stuff as well. If they lead Rillaboom into Miraidon, they would naturally get Grassy Terrain over Electric Terrain, which would be bad for the Miraidon and the Jugulis. So, I don't dislike the idea of being able to try and override their terrain and then potentially get my Quark Drive that way. So, we're going up against Sunny Side Up and Urshifu, if I read that correctly. Yep, that Tornadus is Sunny Side Up. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Tailwind, and I'm going to go for a Follow Me into the Electabuzz. If they go Surging Strikes, great. We can potentially paralyze the Urshifu. If they go Close Combat, I can still potentially paralyze them. I just have less odds of doing it. But I don't dislike the idea of Electabuzz getting some speed behind it and having Electro Web to start slowing things down, potentially break a Sash off one of these two. One of these two could potentially have that Sash. I mean, this could be Banded Urshifu. It might not be Sash. It could even be Scarf, but honestly, the fact that we're not seeing Tailwind off of the Torn is a little bit spooky, but that could just be a Bleakwind Storm coming my way instead. So, yeah, it's just Bleakwind Storm. Iron Jugulis is going to take that. I don't love the amount of damage that I took there, but we're going to take the Surging Strikes. We have three potential chances of paralyzing this thing. So, there we go. There. All right. Nice. Now, I think I'm going to lose the Electabuzz here, but I'm going to bring in the Miraidon, and I'm going to go for the Electro Web now. And then this way, too, if they don't get rid of Electabuzz, great. I get a little bit of speed into both of these, like lowered, and then Miraidon can do some big damage. If Rillaboom comes in here, great. I resist its grass typing. I have the Overheat in the back, and I do have the Iron Jugulis still alive and well. So, depending on how much damage we can do here, that could be really nice to the Urshifu. So, they're going to take a speed drop. They're just going to Surging Strikes into Electabuzz again. Nice. Alright, so I need to get rid of that Urshifu. And I really need to get rid of that Torn as well. So, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring the Iron Leaves in here. We get a speed boost from our Quark Drive. I'm going to go for the Torn with Miraidon, and I'm going to go for the Psyblade into the Urshifu. Psyblade's going to get the bonus damage modifier from the Electric Terrain, which is a weird sentence, but anyways, it's going to get that. And plus, the nice thing here too is, at least if they switch in Rillaboom and get rid of the terrain, well, at least I have some big damage at my disposal. So, we're going to get rid of Ursh right here. There's no Protect off the Torn, so if Zacian comes in, I'm going to have to be very careful because they do have Tailwind as well. So they're going to be faster than me, but I do have Protect on Miraidon. So losing Electabuzz is a little bit bad for that because the Follow Me would have kept Miraidon nice and safe from the Zacian, which here it comes right now. I think this is my last turn at Tailwind. Rillaboom's going to come in here as well, so I really don't mind. I lost my train of thought. That actually stunned me stupid. Yeah, this is my last turn at Tailwind. I really don't mind the Protect here, but I think I'm going to try to switch in the Jugulis so that I can get my Electric Terrain back. And I think I'm just going to go for some damage. That might be what I have to do. The nice thing here is I can always Protect with the Iron Leaves. Yeah, I can always Protect with the Iron Leaves, and then that way, because we can't switch anymore, getting my Electric Terrain is going to be really important. So I think yeah, that was a random cat here. Ugh. But anyways, we're going to Protect with the Iron Leaves. We can get our boosted Psyblade back up. So a Fake Out is going to go into the Iron Jugulis here. They're going to Sword Stance. Oh, okay. That's gross. But my Tailwind is gone, which means theirs is about to go. And I really want to get Miraidon back into here. So I'm going to go for that Side Blade into the Rillaboom. And if I lose the leaves here, great. I have Protect. Their Tailwind is going to expire. So I just have to hope they didn't double into the Jugulis here. So here comes the Behemoth Blade into the Iron Leaves. Yep, okay. So, are they going to be expecting an Overheat coming off my Miraidon? Yeah. That's a good question. Are they going to be expecting that? They burned their Fake Out. I don't think they necessarily get my Iron Leaf, or my Iron Jugulis with a Grassy Glide, because that's resisted at this point. So I'm going to click the Overheat into the Zacian, hope I land it, and we're going to go from there. If we land this Overheat, that's huge damage into it, and honestly, no Protect. I just need to connect this, and there's no Terra, which is really nice. So we're going to get our Overheat. Ooh, that was a little freaky, that animation, but we pick up the KO. That's great. Miraidon can handle that Rillaboom, and we're going to click the Dragon Cheer so that that special attack drop just does not matter. So long as we live this. Ooh, yeah. That was a little scary. But we're going to go for the Overheat into you. Oh, here comes the Terra. Okay. Draco Meteor might have been better here, but it is what it is. Yeah, you're Terrafire. Yeah, okay. My Terra Steel is not helping me at all. They're still in this. They are still in this. I definitely overspoke. I wonder how much damage this is going to do, though, too, because that's the other thing. A critical hit is still a critical hit at the end of the day. Ooh, definitely not enough. That should have been a Draco Meteor. I definitely misplayed that. There's the high horsepower into the Miraidon. Oof, okay. Yeah. Draco Meteor would have ended this, actually. Even Electro Drift. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go for a little bit of Snarl. Get a little bit of damage off into the Rillaboom. So, this is gonna hurt. 5 HP. I'm gonna Protect because I think they have the Grassy Glide. Yeah, what Rillaboom doesn't have the... Oh, yeah, I'm on Electric Train. Never mind. What am I thinking? Yeah, they did have it, though, but... Iron Jugulis, I'm just asking one favor. Go beyond. Maximum Overdrive Critical Hit Snarl. Come on. Nope. Okay. Yeah. I fumbled that. I fumbled that big time. But anyways, that was a really nice Terra on my opponent's end. That was really nice on their end. I definitely can't really say much about that. The Iron Leaves did its best. It didn't do much. But it's Iron Leaves. Anyways, good game to my opponent. Alright, we got Tornadus, Entei, Frostmoth, Zamazenta, Kingambit, and Farigiraf. Alright, this looks spicy, especially with that Frostmoth. We might see a Wide Guard off that thing. It gets access to Quiver Dance. I don't really see this thing a whole lot, but I do know that its hidden ability does boost its special defense, so that could be a little bit of a problem for my special attackers. Now, as far as the rest of my team goes, we could always bring the Iron Leaves and the Jugulis. We can potentially go Terra Dragon on the Iron Leaves. We go for the Dragon Cheer. We could bring Miraidon in the back to try to deal with that Zamazenta. So maybe that's what we'll do here. If they lead Zamazenta too, that might be a little bit bad for my Jugulis, but it should be alright at the end of the day. And know if I want to bring Chi-Yu or Electabuzz here, because the nice thing with Electabuzz is we can get speed drops into the Zamazenta and the Entei, so we don't have to worry about non-extreme speed attacks. But at the same time, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having Chi-Yu for that Overheat and that Dark Pulse. So we'll bring the Chi-Yu here for this one. The fish has not disappointed me yet, so let's see how we make out with it. Chi-Yu is just representing, even though I probably don't have the most optimal item choice on it with the Life Orb. I'm used to playing this thing Scarfed or Focus Sashed, so yeah. We have King Gambit and Tornadus as the lead into my Iron Leaves, who is, quite frankly, scared of that King Gambit. But we do have the Sacred Sword, and I don't dislike the idea of going for that Sacred Sword into the King Gambit. And I'm going to go for the Tailwind here. And then this way, if we get the Tailwind up, wonderful. We can pop our Terra Dragon, drop our Dark weakness to this thing. If we take a Sucker Punch, great. We're now going to be neutral. And we can just try to deal with it from there. We can pop the Dragon Shear into Iron Leaves to try to do some more damage. And honestly, that might not be the worst thing imaginable. So, just to protect off the King Gambit, so I'm going to get my Tailwind up for my Jugulis. Tornadus is going to get their Tailwind up as well, which is not terrible for me. I really like the idea of going for damage into that King Gambit to try to get rid of it, because that can be a problem. But there's not really much I can do with the Iron Jugulis right now, so I'm in a little bit of a weird catch-22 here. I don't mind the idea of the Sacred Sword into it, but I'm scared of losing the Jugulis. I'm going to pop the Dragon Shear off. We're going to try to get the crit, or yeah, we're going to try to get the critical hit strategy going. We're going to see a Terra off of the Gambit. It's Terra flying. All right, so Sacred Sword might still do a respectable amount of damage, but now I can switch to Psyblade, which Psyblade will be nicer having the electric terrain up. So I think I'm all right with that. We'll get a little bit of chip damage off. Not a terrible amount. We did get a critical hit too, but yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to save the Jugulis if it lives. Oh, that was just the Iron Leaves. All right. I'm going to go for the Psyblade into the King Gambit, and I'm going to bring in Miraidon. And then that way, too, we can keep the Jugulis around, and if we have to reset Tailwind, we'll be able to reset our Tailwind. That'll be the big thing. And plus, we're going to get another speed boost off of the electric train, so Psyblade is going to do a lot of damage, thanks to the fact that it gets a 50% boost, and we'll get that speed. Now, when I EV'd this, I did go for speed, but I probably should have just gone for a attack boosting Fork Drive. Now, the Protect is a little disheartening, but it is what it is. We're going to take a bleak one. We're going to lose Iron Leaves, but Miraidon gets to stay on the field because King Gambit just didn't do anything. So I can Electro Drift quite safely into it. I have Chi-Yu in the back. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Heat Wave and Electro Drift, and we'll go from there. The fact that we have a little bit of chip into this thing is nice, because now we don't have to worry about it being able to try. We don't have to worry about a potential Focus Sash. We know it's not AV'd because it's got Protect, so we should be doing some big damage with that Electro Drift, and the Heat Wave into Torn is going to be relatively nice. I think they might think I'm Calm Mind, which I'm just not. I'm just raw damage here. So we're just going to get rid of that King Gambit, and we're going to hopefully just straight up KO that Tornadus with the Heat Wave. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. We've seen Taunt and Tailwind and Bleak Wind. We do pick up the KO into the Torn. That's relatively nice. Because I was going to say, they might have the Protect, and if they do, then that means I have to worry about my own Protect, but luckily, they don't. Now, we're going to see Turtleneck come out, which Turtleneck, I like that nickname, and Flame Emperor. Entei, okay, alright. That was an interesting epithet. The once perfect, I think, or the imperfect. Yeah, alright, so Dark Pulse into the Farigiraf is going to be handy, and honestly, I really like the idea of going for an Electro Drift here. A Draco Meteor might be nice. We did see the Terra already too, so we shouldn't have to worry about any ground typing switches right here. So we're gonna get some huge damage off into that Entei, and by that I mean a straight up KO. Wonderful, and hopefully Chi-Yu just straight up knocks out this Farigiraf. Yeah, that worked out really nicely right there. Thank you, Mr. Fish. You have yet to disappoint me here. But anyways, I'm very happy with how that played out. Good game to my opponent. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out this Miraidon and Iron Jugulis team in action. Be sure to let me know what you think of the team down in the comments section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed piloting it today. As far as the overall team goes, I think there's a few adjustments that could be made, so I figured I would share my thoughts on what I would change as well as what I really liked about the team. So starting off with some positive feedback for the team, I was honestly blown away with Electabuzz. Thanks to the combination of Follow Me and Static, I was able to get the paralysis into 2 different Urshifu Rapid Strikes, which I was very happy about, since not only did I make them sitting ducks for Miraidon and Iron Leaves, Electabuzz was fairly comfortable with taking those Surging Strikes despite having a little bit of chip damage and not going for the Terra Grass. So honestly, that's a strong win in my book for the Electabuzz. I wasn't really expecting to bring it to many games, but it came to those 2 games and it did tremendous amounts of work. And plus it got a little bit of chip damage into one of those Urshifus with an Electro Web. So A1 in my book right there. And then Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu is an absolute beast right here. The fish did not disappoint me here today. It took out 2 different Calyrex Shadow Riders. It took out a Clefairy. It almost took out an Indeedee with a Psychic Seed boost with a Dark Pulse. It took half of an Incineroar's HP with a critical hit Dark Pulse. And then it picked up a straight up knockout into a Tornadus with Heat Wave. And it knocked out Farigiraf with a Dark Pulse. And on top of that, Chi-Yu, with that first Calyrex Shadow Rider with the Clefairy supporting it, survived not 1, but 2 Terra Ghost Astral Barrages, and honestly, Iron Jugulis definitely played a role in making sure that Chi-Yu survived that. Because of the redirection support with the Clefairy, I wasn't able to safely click Dark Pulse, so I did have to rely on the Heat Wave with the Chi-Yu. So I went for a Snarl with the Iron Jugulis, got a little bit of chip into that Calyrex Shadow Rider, got that special attack drop. Chi-Yu got the Heat Wave, almost knocked it out. It did a lot of damage to the Clefairy and burned the Clefairy, and then despite the Calyrex being faster and getting the Helping Hand boost, that -1 special attack definitely was enough to make sure that Chi-Yu was going to live, since the Helping Hand only put it back up to neutral. Chi-Yu held on with 1 HP, and I was even getting ready to give it its own last rites. I was honestly expecting it to get knocked out, but it survived with that 1 HP, picked up the double KO, and then fainted to its own life orb, which allowed Miraidon to come in, set the electric terrain for the Jugulis, and then rampage from there. Anyways, you guys saw the battle. You know what happened there. And then, honestly, I was really happy with Miraidon's damage output as well. Electro Drift and Draco Meteor were just very valuable tools, but I was really happy with the raw amount of damage that that Overheat did to the Zacian, the +3 Zacian at that. I did have to be very careful with navigating Tailwind turns, but once I got that Tailwind back up after my opponent's Tailwind ended, that Overheat just straight up took out the Zacian there, and despite having the -2 special attack drop, I did go for the Dragon Cheer, and I flubbed it just a little bit. What I probably should have did instead was go for the Draco Meteor into the Rillaboom, because Rillabooms do like to run Terrafire. I should have called that, but unfortunately I didn't. So if I had gone for the Draco Meteor, that match outcome probably would have been a lot better, but overall, still a good match at the end of the day. Now, as far as a few changes go for the team, I'm looking at mainly Urshifu and the Iron Leaves. Urshifu, though, I think is probably the easiest thing to adjust, and that's just changing the Choice Band to a Choice Scarf. The main reason why is because Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider are now back in the format, and they are two major threats to the Urshifu, so having a little bit of extra speed on it might not be the worst thing imaginable. If I had access to Prankster Tailwind, I would definitely make the case for the Choice Band, but because I don't and I have that Quark Drive Tailwind, it could be a little bit awkward for the Jugulis if the electric terrain isn't on the field, which means leading that Choice Banded Urshifu could be a little bit harder to justify as well. If I had the Choice Scarf on it, maybe what I would do is keep the first 3 moves and then just switch out the Aqua Jet for either Poison Jab or Ice Spinner just for some coverage, and having a Choice Scarfed Urshifu with Surging Strikes is still not bad at the end of the day, because I could always go with the Terra Water and get that major amount of damage off that way. Or I could just have a nice fast pivoting U-turn there. Now, alternatively, what I might like for the team is, as a potential alternate, is maybe switch the Urshifu out for Landorus Therian, and then that way run a Choice Scarf on that, have some Intimidate support. But that's the main point on the Urshifu Rapid Strike. Now, let's talk about the Iron Leaves. Iron Leaves was just a little bit too fragile for my liking, and it didn't quite pick up enough damage. I'm going to give it a pass on the +3 Behemoth Blade. There's not much things that survive that. But as far as the Iron Leaves goes, I was really disappointed in the amount of damage that knockoff did from the Incineroar, especially since I only did about maybe 70% to that Incineroar at best. And even with the Terra Dragon getting rid of the Dark weakness for Psychic, that King Gambit just did way too much damage to the Iron Leaves. And as far as the damage output goes, again, just not really the most satisfied with that Incineroar at the end of the day, now that I've had time to think on that battle. But as far as the King Gambit goes, I'm going to give Iron Leaves a little bit of a pass there, because that was more a piloting error on my end than anything, considering I went for the Sacred Sword into a Protect and then still naively went for another Sacred Sword, and my opponent just went for Terra Flying at that point. Probably should have either switched my targets to Tornadus and gone for the Psyblade, or probably just should have tried to go for the Psyblade into the King Gambit. And then when I actually did try to go for the Psyblade into the King Gambit, my opponent went for the Protect and then finished off my Iron Leaves. So I think overall, what I would maybe do, like I mentioned in that 4th battle, is maybe consider running an attack boosting Quark Drive, since a speed boosting Quark Drive requires max speed investment in a Jolly nature, and only about 156 EVs into attack to make sure that you're 1 point higher in your speed. So maybe cut the losses on the speed boosting Quark Drive, go for the attack boosting Quark Drive so Iron Leaves can do a little bit more damage. Or alternatively, maybe what I would do is switch out the Iron Leaves for maybe an Ogerpon, whether it be the Wellspring Ogerpon or the Teal Mask variant. And the reason why I bring up the Teal Mask variant is because that Ogerpon can hold items, so maybe run a Razor Claw on the Ogerpon and then have the Dragon Shear, and when you go Terra Grass there, you get that speed boost from the Embody aspect. So Dragon Shear would synergize really nicely with the Ivy Cudgel at that point. And even if you went for the Ogerpon Wellspring, this is kind of factoring in if maybe I took the Urshifu out for the Landorus, put the Ogerpon Wellspring in there. I have water coverage, I have grass coverage. The Dragon Shear will boost Ivy Cudgel up to a 50-50 chance of getting that critical hit ratio. So that could be a nice means of adjusting the team. And plus, I could also slide an Iron Hands in there somewhere. That might be nice too. Anyways, guys, let me know if you agree with my thoughts on the team as well. If you haven't already, commented down in the comment section below. I will see you next time.